We've had 3 clients hit over 500K per month in cash collected for their high ticket offer,
Starting from zero.
starting from
Just wanna
zero.
know.
So by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what the 4 most important things are to help get your coaching offer to that point. So unless you want to stay under 500K per month in terms of your cash, you won't want to miss this episode. All right, welcome to the second episode. Second
Episode number
episode
2.
of the Two Bearded Info Guys podcast, where we talk about everything from helping high ticket offers scale past 500K per month and even 750K per month. So we talk about everything from marketing, sales, systems, company culture, and we've got a very, very exciting episode today. We're going to be talking about the 4 most important things when it comes to scaling an offer. And I think starting off, one of the most cornerstones of any offer is the lead generation,
100%.
how you generate leads. Now, there's a few common things that we've done for our clients that are so important to share with you guys. And it really stems down to whether or not this offer already has a warm audience or it doesn't. So if you already have a decent following and you've got a high ticket offer, the approach you take to scale that is going to be very different to an offer that has no audience. Maybe the owner doesn't have a personal brand or whatnot. Now, something to keep in mind, and we've seen this mistake so many times, is a offer owner will take their warm offer that is working on their audience, run ads entirely cold, and expect it to work. It never works that way. And the reason for that is your audience already knows, likes, and trusts you. And so even if you were to offer anything, because they know it's coming from you and they like you, they're going to assume it's going to work. But if you're running it cold, you've got to change the messaging. You've got to change the angle, because now you're competing with everyone else that's also targeting that audience that also has no idea who you are. So now the messaging has to change completely.
Yeah.
And so like what worked for you warm won't work for you cold. And I think there's 2 parts that we can kind of discuss. One is like for the offer that's warm, and for the cold, and kind of some best practices for each one. For a warm audience, in terms of lead generation, the most important thing that you want to focus on is really taking your audience's feedback and having them almost feel like they're a part of the offer. And so like, I'll kind of break this up into 2 kind of elements. One, if you're kind of starting it out, like this is a brand new offer. If it's a brand new offer, well, now you've got a huge opportunity to kind of build it out with your audience. So like, let's say you've got a big personal brand and you're known for fitness, but you're also known for how big you are on social media. Literally post a story and just see why people follow you, see what people are interested in. Tell them, hey, I'm working on something behind the scenes. I've been getting a lot of DMs from you guys in terms of support. Are you guys more interested in fitness coaching? Or are you guys more interested in building a personal brand?
Yeah.
Get your audience to start to think of what the offer is and have them build it out for you. That way, when you do go live, they're like, we knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Like we were working with the content creator this whole time.
Yeah, and I want to share a small tip that can actually help you get a lot more feedback in real time so that you're able to refine the offer. Something that we found that worked very, very well with the coaches that we worked with is setting up a ManyChat automation. The second someone follows you, it actually asks them, what content do you want to see from you?
Yeah.
So right away, it tells you what resonated with them that made them follow you and what they want to see more of. And that can give you some insight into what their potential pain points might be to help refine that offer.
100%. And especially if you're looking at a warm audience, that's exactly the approach you need to take. So that's if you've never launched the offer before. Now, let's say you've launched the offer to your warm audience and you're already bringing in some revenue, bringing in some cash flow. Now, always know that with your audience, you're always going to be bottlenecked based off of your followers. So at that point, you either have to decide, do I need to go cold to make 500K a month, or using the audience I have, am I still able to do it? And the best way to do it is to actually calculate it. And what's so funny is a lot of offer owners never actually reverse engineer the math of what they're trying to achieve. It's literally as simple as saying, okay, if my target is 500K per month, how many closes is that? How many pay in fulls is that? If I need this many pay in fulls based off of my closers close rate, how many book calls do I need?
Yeah.
That show. Now, if I need this many book calls that show based off of my show rate, how many book calls do I have to book? And based off of that, you go back further. You're like, okay, if I need to book this many calls, how many leads do I need?
Yeah.
And then you look at your audience, you're like, okay, is it realistic for me to get this many leads per month from my audience? And you're going to know your audience the best. If it's no, well, now you've got to start running ads. If it's yes, then you've got to work towards that and maximize each conversion rate on the funnel. The lead to book rate, the show up rate of your call, the close rate, the cash collected per each call, because that's a big thing. Like you can sell a 5K offer, But if you're doing like 5-month payment plans, you're never going to hit that number. And we see so many
Yeah.
coaches look at revenue. Oh, I made 500K in revenue, but they collected 100K.
Sometimes they actually lose money.
Sometimes they even lose money
Especially
because it
running
doesn't make
ads.
sense financially.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? And I
Mm.
honestly think this is one of the reasons why so many coaches and offer owners
Mhm.
never actually scale, which is that they don't track their data.
Yeah, yeah.
They have no clue what's going on. They're like, oh, bro, I want to do 300, 400, 500K a month. How many calls are you booking per day? I don't know. What's your close rate? I don't know.
Yeah. It's almost like they have this dream in their mind. They're like, oh, I want to hit 100K, I want to hit 200K, but they have no idea how to get there.
You're not aiming for it, you're just hoping for it. That's not how you scale a business. You need very tangible data to actually, like you said, optimize all the conversions in the funnel so you're able to hit those numbers. If you're not tracking anything,
Yeah.
you're literally just like bullying your sellers and close like, yo, we need more calls, we need
Yeah.
more closes. That's what happens every single time.
And they're going off of KPIs that they think is good. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to get a 30% close rate. But do you know if that's what you need for your actual business?
Yeah.
And like we speak to clients as well, like for our own agency too, and they'll come to us and we'll ask them like, hey, do you know what your show rate is? Do you know what your booking rate is?
No
And they'll
clue.
just stare blank at you like, I think it's this, or it feels like this. Oh, this is the one that kills me. What's your close rate? You'll ask the offer owner and they'll be like, oh, I close everyone. I'm at 100%, 80% close rate. And as soon as someone tells me that, I know they don't actually track the data, because if they did, they'd realize that's actually a lot less than what they say.
Or they're undercharging like crazy.
Or they're undercharging like crazy.
Like that one guy who's like, I closed at 80%. Like, how much is the ticket price? $400. Like, bro,
Oh yeah, 100%.
no wonder you're closing
And
at
then
80%.
at that point, you can't hire any closer because it's
Yeah.
not going to incentivize. You just can't scale that. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think the first piece is really understanding from a lead generation perspective. Do you have a warm audience that you're working with, or do you have a cold audience?
And the second thing is to
Mhm.
add
Yeah.
to that is when it comes to a lot of these offer owners, especially if you have a big audience, you have a big following, people that engage with you, right? One thing that they always overlook is they just see a lot of people reaching out and they just assume that it means they're going to be able to book a lot of calls. But there are people that we've seen in the past and we tried to work with who got so many DMs, so much engagement, and then we take a
Oh.
look at their analytics and we see where their audiences are based in. Look, if you're in the high ticket space, you probably know exactly what we're referring to. But there are specific countries that if they make up the majority of your audience, I'm sorry to break it to you, you are not going to make any
Yeah,
money.
you're not making any money. You've got to go straight cold.
100%. So you also want to look at, like we talked about, the volume of the leads that you have,
Absolutely.
but also the quality of the leads that you have. Because
Exactly.
if they're
100%.
based in those countries, you're not making any money.
And especially their age. If they're all under 18, they have no credit card. They've got no bank account. They've got nothing.
Yeah.
I don't care if you get 1 million people watching that. No one's buying anything. And I think it's funny because you brought up a point where I think I'm still traumatized from that experience. It was one of the first accounts managed way back. This creator had like 700,000 followers. And I didn't ask any further questions. I'm like, okay, well, what's your engagement rate? How many followers do you have? How many leads do you get? And the numbers were amazing, like 300 leads a day. I'm like, say less. Okay, we need this many closers. Again, because we're using math behind all this. We're like, okay, for us to hit 200K per month, we have this many leads, meaning we need this many setters, we need this many closers. I'm going to start training and hiring and so on. And then we start everything, and the quality of the leads that we were getting, it's not even like it's not even like when closers complain about the lead quality being bad, but it's actually their fault, and they're in the sense that they can't close. It's like, no, like genuinely these guys had no money. It was like the currency exchange was insane. It was like impossible for it to work. We had to run it cold. We had to run cold ads. And that's one thing that you guys have to also analyze for yourself. But that's a very, very good point. And I think it happens way too often as well.
Yeah. I remember there was one guy that I was speaking with. He had, I think, 550,000 followers. And he's like, man, I'm stuck at 30K per month. I just can't scale. I don't know why. My closer, like, he's just, he's taking a lot of calls, but he's not closing, right? The setter is booking in a lot of calls, but the money isn't coming in. And I was like, I just looked at his analytics, right? The average person that was following him was from a specific country that we don't want to shame publicly, but most of his followers from that country, and they can't afford anything. And if it's not from that country, most of them were kids. I'm like, bro, how do you expect to close someone that makes $200 a year, or someone that's like 16? No wonder you're only making 30K per month. You have to go cold. And he's like, no, but I have a lot of followers. Like, why would I go cold?
Yeah.
And guess what? He never broke through 30K per month.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's 100%. So yeah, just to recap that first piece in terms of lead generation, you always want to look at it from two angles. Do I have a warm audience I'm working with? Do I have cold? If I have warm, now you kind of break it up. Am I launching a new offer? If so, get your audience to build it with you. If it's an offer that's already existing, now you want to do some calculations, reverse engineer the target you want to hit, see how many leads you need, see if your followers can make that, and if not, you want to go cold. Now under cold, there's different funnels. All the funnels work, but it's a matter of how much friction is the offer itself. If it's a complicated offer that needs a lot of explanation, you typically need a longer form sales funnel. What I mean by that is rather than it being just a lead form opt-in, they need to go through a webinar. They need to go through a challenge. Because what you need to do is you basically want to take an organic strategy, which is someone watching 6 months worth of content, and really shrink that into a couple days or a couple hours. Whether it's a 3-hour webinar, it's a 3-day challenge. Because if it's a complicated offer, so whether that be investing or specific types of trading where it's not as basic as like fitness, you need a longer form sales funnel to really nurture them, get them bought in on the vehicle of what they're going to be purchasing, and then get them warm enough to trust you and then book a call. If it's more simple, you can go get away with a VSL. But again, you always want to remember to yourself that going from warm to cold, you need to almost recreate a warm funnel and make it cold. And that means really having a good content strategy or a good funnel where you're able to educate, get people to know you, like you, and trust you, and then change that cold. And you're always thinking, I need to shrink my time frame to get this cold prospect to be as warm as possible within a few hours or even a few days. And that's the biggest thing you want to look at from cold. But again, you're always reverse engineering the math. You're looking at your cost per booked call, your cost per lead, seeing that how that translates to your cash per booked call. Yeah. And I think there's a huge KPI that's always overlooked or misunderstood, which is your close rate. Someone can have a very high close rate, but you're losing the business money. Someone can have a lower close rate, but you're making the money business.
Yeah.
And like the easiest way to explain that is if you're running ads and your cost per booked call, let's say, is $300. Now, one closer is closing at 30%. So they take 10 calls and they close 3. But their cash collected is maybe $1,000 per call. So they're making $3,000, okay? And they've called 10 people. So their cash per booked call is $300 a call.
Yeah.
Because they've taken that 10 calls, they made 3K, so 10. So like, yeah, if you do the math, a K divided by 10, 3K divided by 10. 300. But you're spending 300 to make the call, so you're breaking even. That closer's not doing great. Now you have another closer that's closing at 20%, but they're getting paid in fulls. So they get 2 calls out of the 10. They get 3K and 3K, so they're making $6,000 for 10 calls.
Yeah.
Now 6,000 divided by 10 is 600.
Yeah.
So now your cash per booked call is 600, but your cost is 300. You're now at a 2x return on ad spend. You're profitable.
You know, I know a coach. I don't know him personally, but like I knew of him, and someone I worked with very closely told me about this guy. He was making $2 million a month, and he was broke.
Yeah.
When I say broke, I mean the guy had to literally ask his friends for money. The guy was doing $2 million a month. That's because of exactly what you just said. He was focusing on the wrong numbers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing that's really scary about data, is that if you misinterpret the numbers, it can literally destroy your business. He was doing $2 million a month. The close rate was about 40%. So if you just look at those numbers, you're like, man, like this is an incredible business.
Yeah.
But he was literally losing money month over month because he was overlooking the most important metric, which is ROAS.
Yeah.
His ROAS was negative.
Yeah. You've got to look at your cash collected per booked call, not your revenue. What's actually hitting the bank from a cash flow perspective.
Exactly.
And that's the most important thing. We've seen, and then there's one other client that's doing, I think before we started working, they were doing like 300K a month, and their net margins were like 2%, 5% even.
Yeah, like he was making minimum wage.
It's like you're putting all that effort in. You're scaling the business to 500K. You're paying this much in software fees, this much in sales commissions, doing all this work, signing all these clients just to make 5K a month, 10K a month.
Literally.
Doesn't become worth it at that point.
Yeah.
And I think a good segue for us to kind of go into lead generation is the importance of a congruent sales and marketing team. So I'm going to tell you the guys this. If a closer tells you the leads suck and the marketers tell you the sales guys can't close, that's a team issue. That's not a role. That's not a marketing issue or a sales. That's a team issue.
You're cooked.
You've got to have extreme accountability from either side. The sales guys have to figure out why these leads aren't closing, take full responsibility as to why these leads are unqualified, and do everything they can to get better at selling, whether that be setting, better framing, and closing and handling objections. the marketers have to put all the ownership on themselves, and rather than saying these sales guys can't close, it's what can I do, everything in my power to make sales guys cashiers,
Yeah.
to make these sales guys just order takers. Like, I want to frame them so well before they even speak to anyone, where we're pre-handling objections in email campaigns, or we're retargeting them with ads, telling them more about the strategy of the offer. Like, we're getting them to a point where once they speak to a sales rep, they're already bought in. Once you have both sides having extreme ownership, at that point, you can scale like insanely well. And I think something we do very well together is you really focus on that with the sales team, and I really focus on that with the marketing. You're always thinking, okay, how can these sales guys close? And never blame the marketing and take full ownership.
Yeah.
Even if marketing is messing up, just having that full ownership. And then even on my side, on the marketing side, I take full ownership. Are they being framed well? Do we need more content being sent to them? Do we need more sales assets before they even get on the call? Do we need more testimonials, more case studies? I want to get to the point where, the sales guys are like, yo, these are the easiest leads I've ever spoken to.
Yeah.
And when you have both firing at full cylinders, everything just works out. Your cash collected is never been higher. Your close rate has never been higher. Your return on ad spend is in such a good spot, and like you're able to really scale rather than pointing the blame.
Yeah. I think honestly, like, just to summarize all of that, it's to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
Because you and I work together very well, I don't have to like, BS you about anything.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you like, yo, I'm reviewing their calls, I'm listening to the setting calls, I'm watching everything. These leads actually suck,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can tell me the same thing, like, listen, man, like, these leads, they're filling out the form, they're being nurtured, etc. The closers aren't doing a good job, and we can be truthful towards each other, and we're able to refine a lot quicker and actually get to the end goal, which is that congruency between marketing and sales.
Yeah. And I think a good way to think about it is your sales guys almost in their mind. For you to take ownership, almost think of it this way: if there was no marketing and we were a purely cold outbound sales team, how would we operate?
Yeah.
It's gonna be very different. You're gonna be very, very strategic in terms of how you position the call, how the call flows, how you share the value. And then on the marketing side, I've got to think to myself, and we got to think to ourselves, that if we have no sales team, if there was no closers, no setters, and I have to sell a 10K offer just through marketing, what do I have to do? How is that funnel gonna look like? Assuming there's no sales team. I think if we both look at it in that lens, then we're both doing everything we can from a best practice perspective to really move things, to really move the needle and really see that return.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of these businesses fall short. Marketing blames sales,
Yeah.
sales blames marketing. No one's making
No one gets anywhere. Everyone just pointing fingers. No progress is made. Look, I would rather make money than be right.
100%. I don't care, bro. I just want to get
I
paid.
just want to get paid. That's literally it. Amazing. So we've covered lead generation. We've covered the systems and the importance of sales and marketing working together. In a previous episode, we talked about the importance of having a very simplified system for your entire team, whether that be the marketing team being able to really identify everything throughout the entire funnel, and the sales guys being able to update their pipeline in a very systematic and easy approach where they don't have to fill 100 different forms. And I think a lot of mistakes we see as well is that marketing kind of ends with cost per booked call. And after that, they have no visibility over anything. When we fill out our reports and we have our tracking, we can see every single lead through every single funnel up until close. We can see the cash collected per call for every single type of lead. So we're able to really see that, okay, this funnel is working better. So let's double down on this VSL. Or no, you know what? This lead opt-in is doing better. Let's scale these ads. If you've got visibility up until cost per lead or cost per booked call, it doesn't give you anything. Because like we discussed, you can have a very high cost per booked call and a very low cost per booked call in comparison. But think to yourself, you know what? The lower cost per booked call is better. Let me scale that one up. But if you have no idea who's converting, it's like, okay, sure, maybe you get an amazing cost per booked call, but you literally get zero sales.
Yeah.
So your cash collected or your OIs here is in the negatives. But here, maybe you're spending a bit more to get the cost per booked call, but you're collecting so much cash on the back end where it makes sense to continue to scale that. And that's why when I see when I see offer owners have a marketing team and a sales team separately, the biggest mistake is they don't speak to each other. So you have no idea, like they have no idea like what's working or what's not. For us, like we have everything in the house. So from a marketing lens and a sales lens, we get to be very congruent, very cohesive in it, and we get to see the entire funnel.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the point you're trying to make is data is relative. right? Because when you don't have that communication between marketing and sales, they have a very narrow or
Yeah.
tunnel vision into the data.
100%.
Right? Marketing is looking at the metrics that they think matter the most. Sales are looking at the data that they think matter the most. No one's looking at the full picture. If you're not looking at the full picture, you're not actually making the changes going to benefit the business the most. So once you have that communication, and once people are actually, once marketing and sales have that communication, now you're able to optimize the things that you need to actually improve the ultimate metric, which is ROAS. Right? Are you even making money, and are you profitable?
Exactly. And that brings us on to our podcast sponsors, VC Growth. So again, VC Growth is a sales and marketing agency that works with high ticket offers, with coaching offers, helping them scale them to 500, 700K per month. So if you're interested to learn more about them, click the link in the description, click the link below, sign up if you're an offer owner, fill out the application, and we'll see if it's a good fit and see if we can help you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and now back to the program. So now we're going to go over the last two pieces. So we talked a bit about lead generation. We talked about the cohesiveness between sales and marketing and making sure that system works. I want to touch on sales team management. And I think that's a very, very important piece, because oftentimes you'll see owners put closers, put setters, and just let them go. Let them go wild.
Just
Let them
bully
get on
them.
calls. Just bully them. Hey, your close rate is low. Get it higher.
You're not performing.
You're not performing. Get better. So what are some tips? What are some things you can share from a sales team management perspective?
So the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to managing sales teams is that your team is not just numbers, right? The biggest by far mistake that I see with any offer owner that's managing a sales team by themselves is they just look at the data and they literally start bullying the team, right? Setters have booked 3 calls a day instead of 5, which could be the KPI. Let's just fire everyone. Close rate is at 20%, right? It's supposed to be at 40. Let's just fire everyone. And you're stuck in this constant cycle of churn. Let me fire this guy, hire someone else, same problem, fire, hire. You're never making money. The biggest piece of advice I can give to any offer owner when it comes to managing a sales team is you need to look at it from 2 perspectives. The first perspective, which is crucial and like we talked about, is the data. What do the numbers tell you? But that doesn't give you the full picture. That only gives you a direction to investigate more into, right? Because for example, if I'm looking at my team's close rate and it's below KPI, that could mean several different things. It doesn't mean that they're not performing, right? It could mean maybe the lead quality has dropped. Maybe the sellers aren't booking in calls as much. Maybe my closers aren't as motivated anymore. Maybe they don't have conviction in the offer. I don't know what the actual issue is. I just know where to start looking. So that's the first perspective, which is the data. The second perspective is having those more personal conversations with them, right? And this was something I learned from a mentor of mine who actually was managing an offer doing 3 million a month, right? The way he described it was left brain, right brain. I don't know if that's the actual science behind it, but he's like, left brain is, very data driven, scientific, very hard evidence. Right brain is more emotional conversations, more personable conversations, right? Actually speaking with your closers, really understanding what is going on, why are the numbers dropping. And most of the business owners that we work with, most of the clients that we have, they completely ignore that second perspective. They look at the numbers, they judge based off the numbers, but people aren't metrics. And if you treat them like that, you're going to get the outcomes that we see with most of our clients, which is that you consistently have churn. People aren't motivated.
Yeah. And I think for us, like, it hits a bit close to home because we were closers as well. We were in the trenches. So you've got to understand, like, when you're commission only and you're just surviving off commission, it's very mentally taxing.
Yeah.
So you've got to also understand how to treat your team and how to manage them effectively. So if they've got a bad day, they don't go down this downward spiral and then quit eventually or just underperform. And then you've got to hire someone else and look for someone else and train them and so on and so forth.
100%. I promise you, if you have a sales team, literally just doing this one thing is going to make sure that your retention is a lot higher and you're making a lot more money, which is like we talked about, having those personal conversations with your team. If you keep treating your team as metrics, you are not going to ever scale because your team does not respect you. They don't like you. And the second things start to go south, I promise you, everyone's quitting.
Oh, yeah. And if there's a better opportunity, that's it.
They're gone.
They're jumping
They're
ship.
gone so fast. No heads up, nothing. Like, yo, I'm out.
Like, I'm out. That's it. Amazing. And now I want to go over the last piece and probably the most important aspect to getting a offer to 500K per month, which is team culture.
Yeah.
And the importance of having a strong team culture. And I know we touched on it a bit, but I want to go into a bit more detail on that as well.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought that up because I truly believe that this is the most crucial aspect to actually hitting 500, 600, 700, even $1 million per month,
Mm-hmm.
which is the team culture. And it's funny because this is also the most overlooked aspect when it comes to scaling. Because again, everyone's looking at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
How much money are we making? Right? But the way I like to describe culture is imagine you're building a house, right? Some people just want to get the house built as fast as possible. So they start skimming on the quality of the materials, treating the contractors well, and the house does get built. But the second, weather conditions get rough, the house crumbles, right? Same thing with culture. If you don't have that foundation, people aren't bought in. People don't like the offer owners. People don't like the offer itself. The second things get rough, everyone's gone. Everyone quits. Morale is very low,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you are an offer owner, right, you're looking to scale your business. Maybe you've been trying to scale and it's just not working. The one thing I want you to look at is the culture in your team, right? Have conversations with your closers. Have conversations with your sellers. Look at the past behavior of your team, right? Do you constantly try to push your team to hit KPIs and no one's doing it, even though you know they can, right? That's a culture issue. People
Mm-hmm.
just don't care about performing, right? Do you have a high churn rate? People join and then they quit after a few weeks or a few days. That's a culture issue. People don't like being here, right? Do people not show up to the meetings, the trainings? Again, it's a culture issue. And if you never address that, you're literally just fighting this constant churn and this constant friction with the team. You're never gonna scale.
Mm-hmm. And I think an even more overlooked area in the sense of culture is you got sales team culture, but if they never speak to fulfillment
Mm,
and they never get to see client success or client results, what ends up happening?
they don't have that conviction.
And that's the most important thing in sales is like salespeople have to have conviction. At the end of it, it's a transfer of energy. It's a transfer of conviction from you as a sales rep, you as a setter, to the prospect. And if you never get feedback from fulfillment, or even worse, fulfillment doesn't want to even tell you because the results are so bad, and you're going off of hypothetical best case, I think there's a good service here. There's only so much a closer can fake it in their
Yeah.
mind until
Unless
they
you
get
hire
burnt
like
out.
psychopath closers,
Yeah.
which we don't recommend doing, by the way, because that's not a team that you want to build. We've worked with them in the past, not a good experience. Like, for example, we've had clients that our sales team would literally reach out to them like, yo, do you have any client wins?
Yeah.
And they would ghost them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
imagine what that does to morale. It's like, yo, why is this guy not giving me any wins? Like, do
Yeah.
we not have any wins? Is the program even working? Then they get on a call. The guy gives them an objection saying, I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the closer's going to be like, oh, me too. Like, I don't know if it's going to
Yeah,
work either.
and I think the great thing of us kind of starting this together and working on VC growth together is we have so much context from actually doing the thing. Like
Yeah.
we were both closers.
Mm-hmm.
We were we were already doing the lead generation. We were in the marketing for our other clients, like way back. So like we've gotten to see like what the actual trenches look like. And so like now that we're managing these teams, we're able to get them to like 500K per month because we understand what the players are doing. We understand what's actually happening in the field, on these calls, in these meetings. And like one big thing, and I remember way back when I used to be a closer on an offer that was doing $6 million a month. This offer was doing $6 million a month. Our fulfillment was non-existing. It wasn't there. And it's funny, but at the same time, it's so sad because this offer scaled so fast. When we were doing $2 million a month, it was manageable. As soon as we got to 4, 5, 6, and I was a closer, and we were and us the top guys, like we were like selling, but at the same time, we weren't getting much feedback or updates, and we were closing people, and we'd never hear back from them. Or when we did hear back from them, they would tell us, "Hey, like my coach hasn't reached out to me," or "Hey, I didn't receive the service."
That destroys your morale.
And the thing is, sometimes you'll think that I can hide a bad service from the sales reps, but ask yourself, who was the last point of contact for that prospect when they purchased? It was the closer. You can't hide that from the closer. It's very common for the customer to go back to the closer and be like, "Hey, you sold me on this thing and I never got it." And I don't care how good of a closer you are, that is going to change things for you. And you're going to start looking for other offers because you don't want to be a part of that. And especially if you're a good closer, because good closers are always in demand.
100%.
They can always find other offers, especially if they've got very good track records with very good cash collected and very good close rates and so on and so forth. They don't need the money because you've got closers making 20, 30K a month. they're like, you know what, if I take a hit for 2 months to find something I genuinely believe in, so be
That'll
it.
be fine.
And so you'll lose your best talent. So like,
Yeah.
as important it is to scale, you always gotta make sure that the scale doesn't outpace the fulfillment side.
Yeah.
And that's why you need a very good operator and a very good fulfillment team to match
Sales
the
team,
sales
definitely.
side of things.
Yeah, and I remember the most heartbreaking message that I ever got as a closer was I was selling on this offer, right? And it was for this influencer who's pretty big in his specific niche. And I thought the fulfillment was good because that's what he kept telling me. He never shared specific wins, but he told me everyone's happy, everyone's having good experience, and I never had a reason to doubt him, right? And then I remember I was just out somewhere with my friends, and I get a text from a lead that I closed, right? And she texted me, she's like, hey, do you have a quick minute? And I was like, yeah, what's up? We haven't spoken in like a month. She's been in the program. And she's like, can I call you? I'm like, yeah. She gives me a call, and she's like, Aboud, what did I buy? I'm like, what do you mean, what did you buy? She's like, you said I'm going to be getting X, Y, and Z, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I haven't gotten anything. Like, I could have made this in 10 minutes by myself. What did you sell me? And I honestly didn't know what to tell her. I didn't even know if I apologized to her, but what do you say in that moment? And if you get a text like that, how do you expect to ever close someone else on that offer, right? So, if you have your own sales team and your fulfillment isn't dialed in, and you just randomly have closes just dropping from the offer, ask yourself, is the fulfillment dialed in?
Yeah.
Because they might be getting texts like that, and they're like, bro, like, it's not ethical for me to be here. I don't want to sell this anymore.
100%. And actually, and that's a really good point, because we've also seen that even, let's say an offer is unstable, if the closer believes in the offer and believes in the service, we've seen a closer literally make no money for 2 months straight. Literally no money on this offer. And they only stayed on that offer because they saw the potential and the service and the ability for that client to fulfill on the promise
They were so
that they
bought
stayed
in.
on it. They
Yeah.
were so bought in. And so, like, we've seen this on other offers, that if your fulfillment is good, it also helps with your sales team retention. Especially if people are getting good results. They're like, hey, listen, I know it's shaky now, but I see the potential that this can bring, and I want to be a part of that.
100%. And that's one of the biggest changes that we made with our onboarding process. So just for context, we only work with offers that we truly believe in, right? And no offers that are like sports betting, OnlyFans management. We don't touch those offers because we don't believe in them ourselves. But if we're working with an offer, we want to make sure that the service delivery is actually fulfilled, is actually dialed in. So one thing that we started doing is when we onboard the team, I don't know how else to phrase this, but we want to basically brainwash them into the offer. Right, like we give them so much product knowledge, but then we bombard them with so much client wins that they're like, you know what? This is an insane offer. Now, this is something that I feel like a lot of business owners fall short in, which is actually closing your closers on the offer itself.
Yeah.
Right? They just onboard them. So this is what we provide. Go sell.
Yeah.
The one change that we made was when I onboard someone, I'm like, dude, this is such a no-brainer offer. Like, you are stupid if you don't buy this offer. This is what we provide. This is how we help. These are client results. What do you think about all of this? Like, bro, this is the best offer I've ever seen. Put me on the calendar right now. And now they're closing at like 50, 60% closing.
Yeah, and top closers want to be part of those offers. They want it. And like I said, if you don't have it, and they can easily find another offer, especially if they're top performers, they'll be easily find something else. And again, we're not saying the best way to train salespeople is through product knowledge, because we know this, that the sale is made in the discovery.
Yeah.
The sale is made in how you ask the questions and what you ask, and the journey that you take the prospect into understanding that this is the right time and the right thing to purchase. But you can't neglect product knowledge. It is so important in the sales training. And we've seen so many sales coaches preach that you don't need to know what you're selling. And it is true. You can sell something without knowing what the product is, which is very, very true. But are they going to have the same conviction? Are they going to have the same belief in the offer? Are they going to stay with you when things go tough? Because things will things will go tough. Even for the offer that was doing $6 million a month, it was a fitness offer. In the summer, slow down. In Q4, slow down. It really picked up back in December, January, when people are starting to think, okay, new year, new me. So look, things will happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've discussed a lot in this episode. We talked about lead generation. We talked about sales and marketing systems. We talked about sales training specifically. And we also talked about culture and the importance of culture.
Absolutely.
And so we'll wrap it up here, because I know we kind of went over, and we're trying to keep these episodes under 30 minutes, really give you guys as much value as possible. Again, if you have a offer, a high ticket offer specifically, and you're looking to really scale past 300, 400, 500K per month, click the link in the description. Check us out. fill out your application, and we'll reach out and we'll see if it's a good fit, and hopefully bring you on as one of our clients, and hopefully one of our next success stories, get you to that 750K per month, even $1 million per month as well.
Yes, sir. See you guys next episode.